Here we are on December 18th, 2011 again with Marina De Franceschini, renowned expert on Hadrian's Villa. And we're inside a rotunda. Where are we and what was the use of this space?
So this is the inner dome and the inner hall of the lower floor of Roccabruna. And what is peculiar about this building that we had two domes, one over the other. Because here there is this dome that we still see, and then on top of this there was a temple which was covered by a dome. So the only way to have two domes, one on top of the other, is to have the upper one weight outside of the perimeter of the dome. And this is the reason why the walls are so thick, because they are about 3 meters thick. So when you go upstairs, you see all the bases of the columns, and we were able to reconstruct the temple. When I studied the academia and I realized that there was this astronomical alignment, fortunately I was able to speak with Robert Manguri and Marianne Ray, who told me that already in 1988 they had discovered that this building was aligned with the sunset of summer solstice. So in 2009 I came here and I discovered that they were right. Because in this place, of course, a particular fantastic thing, really I like it, because we see exactly what the emperor was seeing 2,000 years ago, more or less. So the thing is that, as we will see outside, the three main facades of this building are pierced, and there is a tunnel which is pyramid shaped. It's wider in the outer part.
A conduit.
A conduit. Which,
like a window.
Like a window,
but piercing through the dome.
Piercing through the dome, and the Mangurian thought about medieval castles.
Yes.
And the thing is that people tend to believe that was for giving air, ventilation to the place. Other people were having weird theories about a gigantic villa.
And we can see one of these, can't we?
Yes,
up there,
there
that dark spot is one.
That spot is one. There are four. One for each side of the building. That one actually is closed because of the restoration, but this is open.
This one we can see very nicely, that slit.
Also this one on top.
And so the reason I thought of medieval fortifications was that in medieval forts you often have a window on the inside that's like this, that narrows as you go out, so that it would be very hard for an attacker to shoot an arrow in, but very easy for a defender to shoot the arrow out. But this conduit is the opposite. It's wide on the outside and narrow on the inside. So here we can barely see the slit because it is narrow.
Yeah, but this was made on purpose because this was a light conduit. We have examples, for example, in the pyramid of Cheops in Egypt, which has a similar light conduit but was oriented towards the stars. Instead, in this case, just in the 5 days across the solstice, the sunset of summer solstice, we have the light that is entering through the tunnel from that slot and is projecting a rectangular blade of light on the opposite side. But the thing is that this phenomenon is lasting for 1 hour and a half, because it starts on top of that niche and then goes upwards with an arched course, and then at the end it's fading like with a dimmer switch, because the sun is slowly going down and then it becomes red and then just fades very, very slowly. So this was something magic that was connected with religion. Because here we know there was found the basis of a candelabra with symbols of Isis, who is connected to the seasons, and also on summer solstice there was the feast of Force Fortuna. And the Force Fortuna, like in the temple of Fortuna Prigigenia, was identified with Isis. So this was the first link that we had to reach this theory, this idea of mine, that this was probably a shrine dedicated to Isis.
And do we know where the bases were located?
The bases probably were, there were four in these niches. They were the stone, quite large actually, something like this. And then on top they had another candelabra, probably with leaves. For example, in the museum there is one which has a sort of palm leaves. And then in that niche there was a statue of Isis, which also was illuminated by the sun when the sun was setting down.
Because when the sun is setting, it's coming right through
exactly
the principal doorway.
Exactly.
And it's exactly illuminating this statue niche behind us.
And this, while the niche is touched by the sun for several days during summer, this thing of the blade of light happens just 5 days of the year, which means that they had 5 days of this phenomenon that were used for processions, ceremonies, rituals connected to Isis and also to the Accademia Esplanade, which has the same orientation, and also the Accademia.
And has the same kind of orientation to the solstice.
Yeah.
Summer and winter.
The interesting thing is that summer solstice at sunset and the dawn of the winter solstice are exactly opposite 180 degrees, which means that in the temple on top here in Roccabruna, both in winter and summer, the sun was shining through the main door or through the main window. And the same was happening in the Accademia because we had a see-through perspective which was coinciding with the main axis of the building. And so in winter the sun was coming through the Zolteca, for example, and in summer was coming through the opposite side of the Apollo's temple. And what is magic is that the sun is, like in Abu Simbel, is running on the pavement and gradually illuminating the building. And this was something religious, was connected with the time, with darkness and light, with death and life, with this opposite. As in summer we have the ripest season, and in winter we have this apparent death of nature.
So that's Accademia. Getting back to Roccabruna where we are, how would you restore the dome inside? I think you've told me that there were traces of blue paint found on the stucco.
Yeah, because there are some few fragments of the plaster, and when they restored the building in 2000, they found the traces of blue paint. So possibly this was like representing the sky dome.
The Dome of Heaven.
The Dome of
Heaven. Which is a known motif in ancient
Exactly.
Arabic.
And I found, for example, this ceiling in the Temple of Dendera, which is more or less of the same period, and in a temple that is dedicated to Isis and has all the zodiac.
And this is appropriate for Isis because she's Queen of the Heavens.
Yeah, Queen of the Heavens. So she's ruling over the earth, over destinies. She is the most powerful goddess.
Life and death, too.
Yeah. And another thing that I will show you is that that slot over there is where two other conduits are ending. And is it possible to hear the sound of people staying up? And if you go upstairs, you listen to the people speaking here. This is something that we discovered during our survey. So I have this idea that this was a way to perform something magic, because we know about talking statues, of all these tricks that were made in the sanctuaries to pretend that the divinity was there. So probably when the light blade was here, somebody was playing music, or maybe was giving oracles, because also in Tivoli we know that there was a Sibyl, and also in Preneste. And from top of Roccabruna you can see the sanctuary of Preneste.